Jim O'Keefe, where are you, Jim? He's the clubhouse guy. Here he is. That's the guy that made the chili dog. Jim Riley, the White Sox bat boy in '72. Got my job. That's the job I wanted. Wanted to be the White Sox bat boy so bad.
You did okay,
man. Yeah, I did all right, but I cried.
They didn't pay much, you know.
Well, it's okay, man. It was White Sox. Didn't have to pay. I cried so much, my mother told me, man, shut up. I'm tired of you. Tired of you crying about not being a bat boy. Pick up a book. Hey, Phil Rosenthal, former Tribune columnist, is here. I didn't see Phil. Where is he? Oh, Phil, how are you? I didn't see you. And of course, David Stern and Rick Camper from Elkhart Press. They published the book, Chili Dog MVP. And of course, Robert Colin is here, author. And you know what, the narrator, Jacko Sims, who narrated this documentary, could not be here today. But let's also give him a hand. So, I got a seat here. I don't know if I'm going to sit down with these bad knees and hips, but I'm going to sit next to Ferguson Arthur Jenkins, as Jack Brickhouse would put it. Fergie, you played with Dick Allen in the minors.
Yes. First of all, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We were both 19 years old. And then once again in Little Rock.
You guys were among the first blacks to be in Arkansas. What was that like?
Horrible. Well, we were basically sent from the Philly organization to basically progress our career on a AAA level, big leagues the next level. And there was 4 players of color. People don't really mention the other 2 individuals. Marcelino Lopez, a Cuban, Richard Quito, a Panamanian, Dick from Pennsylvania, and Jenkins from Canada. The 4 of us were going to be the nucleus of that ball club. 3 pitchers, 1 outfielder. I was there for about a month and a half, the first part of the season. I got hit pretty good. So I had a learning factor. So they sent me back to AA. So I went to Chattanooga. I stayed in Chattanooga almost 3.5 months, and they brought me back to Little Rock. This was the time that I came back, and I seen the cheers and jeers that were given to Dick Allen turned completely around. Mm-hmm. He had 37 home runs, led the league in RBIs, played a great center field. I just think that people didn't understand what his capabilities were until they seen him play a whole season. Then they lost him. Next year, Philadelphia, Rookie of the Year.
Did you know then that he was special?
Oh, yeah. Come on. Being a teammate, you could see the qualifications that he had. He could run, throw. He was a 5-tool player. 5-tool. Especially in spring training, Clearwater, Florida. He hit the ball out of the ballpark. Kids would run and to try to get some of these home runs. Johnny Callison, Don Demeter, so many guys that were powerful hitters, and he hit the ball a lot further than they could. He just had that kind of ability.
You know, I saw once we were in right field because we would come off 35th Street, or the right field bleachers, and they were playing the A's. I saw him hit a home run once, and I tell you, and Kevin was with me, I was like, man, I think the ball is lopsided. He hit it so hard, the ball went lopsided, just crushed it. Unbelievable. Hey, John Owens, John, you wrote Chili Dog MVP along with David Fletcher. What was your biggest discovery about Dick Allen?
I think the biggest discovery is that how admired he was by his teammates. Back in the day when you would read the press clippings, you would hear the words aloof. And that was the writer's perception of Dick. But the Dick Allen that his teammates knew and that people like Chuck Tanner knew were very devoted. He was also admired for his independence and his ability to negotiate for himself. I know that Dusty Baker, for instance, mentioned this in our interview with him. How he was admired by players around the league for his ability to recognize his self-worth.
Well, he negotiated pretty good. The biggest contract in the history of baseball. I would say that's pretty good negotiation. Yeah. Hey, you met him in '72. What was that like? I tell you what it was like for me meeting my hero.
Right. I met him in 2012.
2012.
During
I'm sorry.
the same time you met.
I meant 2012.
When there was the White Sox had their 40th celebration of the 72 team, the 40th anniversary of that 72 team. So Dick Allen showed up at right field, or was then the cell, along with the Goose and a lot of the other players from the 72 team. And the thing that really struck me about Dick was his sense of humor. We had a luncheon with Dick before that Sunday game on a Friday, and I think Willa, his wife, was with us, and he had there were Doc Fletcher was with us, and some other sports writers, and he had the whole room just on the floor with his humor. He's a very funny man and a very humble man. That's what really struck me. He was a simple man, not simple, but very modest, a very modest man.
Yeah, I tell you what, I loved meeting him. It was great to meet a hero. I always tell you about meeting Don Cornelius, who was a hero of mine, and how disappointed I was.
Yep, I remember this story.
I'll keep it clean, but man, I haven't watched Soul Train since. What up? Never mind. David Fletcher. David, you were really instrumental in getting Dick Allen into the Hall of Fame. You were part of Chili Dog MVP. What made you decide that Chili Dog MVP needed to be a documentary?
Well, John and I got approached by Andy.
Hold the mic up a little bit more, closer. Yeah.
We got approached by Andy, and when Chili Dog came out, and I want to thank our publishers, David and Rick, for that, about optioning the film. But we started out the opening scene there about Orlando with losing by 1 vote again. Dick had lost in San Diego in 2014, so it was a deja vu again, the gut punch. And so we were there for that, and it was devastating to see him not get in again. It was sad, even sadder, because Dick had died in December of 2020 of lung cancer. So it was kind of a natural out of that was we had a great way, I think, to tell the story, the heartbreak, and we were obviously hoping that we'd be successful in our efforts. I wasn't the only one helping to try to get Dick in the Hall of Fame. A lot of people were responsible. But it was just a great story, because why was the best baseball player in the land in 1972-73, highest paid player, saved the franchise, beloved, who had the best statistics offensively for 11 years in baseball, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? And that was sort of the central story we wanted to tell. And it was a story about redemption and vindication, and that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not a baseball story, even obviously baseball is important. It's about overcoming adversity and forgiveness and redemption and atonement. And I will agree with Kenny. I brought Kenny, Dick to the studio. I remember that day very much and how excited Kenny was. But for me, I'd grown up in the western suburbs. I got a couple of my high school buddies here, Larry Krupp and Mike Brady. I love the '72 White Sox, and I had that cover of Sports Illustrated in my bedroom. It's still there in 2026. My wife can attest to that. And so he was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan, and he was such an important person to bring. And just like you meet your heroes. He was actually better. I liked him as a real complex person. And just like John said, he was incredibly funny, but he was also his faith and forgiveness, what he went through. And I think that's the story we tell about the Little Rock. And that's why Fergie's such an important character. They two guys broke the color line in Little Rock. And one of my greatest joys of doing this documentary is on September 5th, in Little Rock, the Arkansas Travelers are retiring Dick's number 6 and doing a bobblehead. And it's quite an achievement. So that's, for me, why we wanted to bring the story. And the story keeps getting better. I'm blessed. I have, my family here, my grandchildren. It's a story that's got to keep being told. It's a story about America. And it's a story we need so much today with all the division we're having in society.
How do you think this documentary will reshape his place in baseball history? Because a lot of things people didn't know.
You're asking me that question, or am I direct?
No, you.
How I think it's going to reshape it? I think it's going to really bring to the forefront to the country about this special person, what he went through, and it's an example. I think that's what you have I want to get out there, is that humbling story of overcoming and perseverance. I mean, I will say, to Will and to Doobie, it was heart-wrenching in 2014. Dick was still alive. I talked to him after the vote, lost by a whisper. And then in 21, it was just gut-wrenching. And so to have this happy ending, to have all these people who are behind him. And so, the Chicago episode is obviously the ultimate of his career, but it's a lot more complex story. And I think that's what's going to come out, especially when people see the rest of the film. We got 90 more minutes you guys haven't seen yet.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Now, I can top that. You say you had the Sports Illustrated cover.
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. And he told me he didn't like that cover.
He did
because
not.
He didn't want kids to think it was okay to smoke. He didn't know they were doing it. But I can top you. Because when he came to my show, he had the old 72 jersey, the red, the stripes like this man has on right here.
Right.
And I love that jersey. I think it's the best White Sox uniform they ever had.
Especially with the zipper.
Yeah. He signed it for me. It's on my wall, but I sleep under it every night. Under that, seriously. The jersey's on the wall, but I sleep under the jersey every night. So as long as that doesn't fall,
you sleep with it under?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't fall off, as long as the frame doesn't fall off the wall, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I sleep under that jersey. As long as that tornado 2 weeks ago kind of scared me, because the room started shaking. I was like, man, the room is shaking, and my mother was asleep. And the wall is shaking because the tornado, south side 2 weeks ago, the tornado was really bad, for real. So I'm like, do I say my mother or do I say the jersey? I only thought about it for about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
she was asleep.
I noticed the audience really liked our clip of Wilbur Wood. That was his last interview. And just so you know, that jacket he was wearing was the jacket he wore in 1972. They pitched 376 innings. I brought it to Boston, and he was so overjoyed. He wore it the entire time. It was such a fun thing. As a White Sox fan, it was such a very, very special moment, especially when he forgave about the picture. You see that famous cover with Nancy and Bill Milton with this Rinsky thing. Wilbur Wood was upset with that. He actually complained about it. That was, I'm becoming a baseball player to be on that cover. And he was able to laugh in 2025 when we did that last September. So it's a really special, we got him in the film.
Well, Andy Billman, you are the director of this outstanding documentary. It comes from the book, Chili Dog MVP. How do you adapt a book into a 5-part documentary?
Well, you just, by the way, why didn't you tell me that story about the uniform dude? That was
I didn't think about it.
That was like, I can't get that out of my head. Anyways, book. So I'm lucky enough to have produced over 100 documentaries, did a lot for 30 for 30 since 09 to 18, and been lucky to really be a part of this project. The thing you try to do is you try to balance the book and the stories of like, is this too much detail and whatnot? This film, though, is very easy because, as Dr. Fletcher just said a few minutes ago, his story is very rootable. This is a guy from a small town. My parents are from a small town, Indiana and Iowa. So it's very relatable to root for guys like that, in my opinion. And to hear his story about what he had to overcome and to hear about Doobie's experiences, what he experienced with his sister and his siblings, You just want to root for a guy like this. So going back to your question, the book was a great guide. Also, Dick was your dad was very quotable. My gosh, was he great in quotes. And what you loved about Dick, and John said it too, he's very authentic. It just makes it so easy, and that's why the Chili Dog book is so wonderful. And honestly, this story needs to be told. Because I find Dick, I mean, look, I'm a guy from Cleveland, Ohio.
Sorry to hear that.
Guardians win. That's for another show.
Okay. They're always the Indians to me, but anyway, go ahead.
That's for another show, too. But I've come to really respect and admire the South Side fans. They remind me a lot of Clevelanders, and I really mean that. And even one day, the Guardians lost on Wednesday, or was it Tuesday? I was like, damn, but my God, I feel good. It's like they are such good fans. And they really root for their team, and they're so loyal. And for people who don't know, I directed a film called Believe Land that came out in 2016. And there's a thank you, by the way. Thank you, LeBron, too. But like the big thing I just want to say is like that's what made the film so much fun. Because like it's a very rootable story, and honestly, to everybody out there who's a White Sox fan, Dick really did come through. We talk about it on the film, and there's no doubt through press clippings, the GM of this team in '72 talked about a lot. He lifted everything in '72. Right. I mean, it's just everywhere you read.
Now, of course, we're in Chicago. A lot of the White Sox fans, we know what Dick Allen means. You coming from Cleveland, not being from here, did that help you with this documentary?
It did at times, but and again, I didn't know. I just want to be honest, White Sox fans, I didn't know. I now know. And you guys have that in your veins like Cleveland fans do. And that's what I really become appreciative of the South Side, because they live and die. And again, like going to the park now really reminds me of what it goes to Progressive and the old Municipal, where just fans have been there forever. And like you just talk to each other, and it did help in this case. I will also say I think Cleveland helped me because I just saw a lot of relatable things. And again, there's a lot more Dick's career than Chicago. The one thing that really helped me in this film was, again, the wonderful work that was done by Dr. Fletcher and all these other writers throughout time, and John Owens too, of giving feedback. Like Dick Allen's life was really chronicled really well. And we're really lucky because there's not a lot of video clips of Dick Allen.
Right.
So thank God for writers, thank God for people archiving. So it made the story a lot simpler to tell.
Dick Allen Jr. Fergie, Fergie wants to jump in.
I had never met Doobie until we went to Little Rock. And Dick was afraid to go back to Little Rock. He said he would never go back. But Doobie and I went to Central High School, and we walked that campus. We went downtown. And what was nice is the heritage is in Doobie, because Dick didn't want to. His heritage went, which is outstanding. Because, you know, a lot of times you don't stay in a city that long in the minor leagues if you're productive.
Right.
And Dick was not going to go back because of the fact there's no reason to go back. He proved that he was a better AAA player. And as I said, he was Rookie of the Year the next year. I came up at 65. I seen Dick progress to one of the best ball players ever. You know, he was a feared hitter.
What was it like facing him?
He was a fierce hitter. If you look at the top 5 players in the National League, Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Hank Aaron, Dick Allen, Orlando Cepeda. Dick's right there with the top players that play the game in the National League back there, 60s and 70s.
Well, Dick Allen Jr., everybody calls you Doobie but me. How did you get the nickname?
My father. It was just a name. I don't know. He started with Deuce, Doobie, just.
So from Deuce, to Doobie.
Yeah.
Hey, through the entire process, was there anything that you learned about your dad that you didn't know?
A lot. A whole lot. I realized he touched a lot of people. I mean, people, since he's passed, it's, you know, people have come up to me and said, just little things, you know, he always did this, he always did that. And I would have never known because he would never tell me. I mean, he never, as he put it, shine my own apple. That wasn't his thing. So I've learned a lot from people, just meeting people even here tonight.
And when he got into the Hall of Fame, you were extremely emotional. Take me back to that day when you're watching the TV, and he was the first one they called. What was that like, seriously?
A lot of my emotion comes from the fire we had in '79, because we all were. The fire marshal's report was, had we been in the house 3 more minutes, we all would have been dead. So when I see him and these things happen,
Okay, hold up a little bit.
all these emotions just come back. So in Cooperstown, when he finally got in, and after everything, with San Diego and Orlando, it was just a huge sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm. Well, people may not have heard it when you talked, because you had the mic down. Talk about that fire that you had to go through in '79.
October 11th, 1979, there was the World Series was on, Orioles, Pirates.
Right.
And Glenn, that was a friend from Chicago, visited out of the blue, pretty much an angel. They were up laughing and all night long, and the next thing you know, early in the morning, the house is on fire. The fire marshal report said, lucky family, had they been in there 3 more minutes, they all would have been dead. Wow. So when I see, videos and pictures of them and things, I get
Do we have any questions out here? I know we got to have questions. Hold on, I'm gonna come down. Give me
You want to do that, or we can take a couple of slides and
Oh, you do it? Okay. I was going to do my Phil Donahue and run around. Is the caller there? All right, questions.
point them out.
Okay, hands.
There's two right there.
With the White Sox hat on.
Right there, Sharon.
Yeah, because the lights, it's kind of bright. Stand up.
Hi. The question is for all of them. When doing the documentary in the book, did you see a pattern that White Sox legends always seem to be disrespected? From Minnie Minoso to Harold Baines to Dick Allen to Tommy John to even a little bit of Jim Cott taking forever to get in, and even Shoeless Joe Jackson. Did you notice that? Because it's one of the things that I debated with my family my whole life, is that the Cubs players easily get in, but the White Sox players, they get disrespected.
The city had 2 baseball teams. A lot of times you can only root for one. I mean, the biggest thing is you have how many sports activities here? You got football, basketball, 2 teams, got soccer. I mean, the nice thing about playing here in Chicago, I followed Dick, even though I was on the north side, because you got clippings of what he was doing in that '72 season. Even though I was having a good year myself.
Right.
I won 20 games that year, '72.
You won 20 games, all right. Hey, you're right about Harold Baines. Baines is one of my closest friends, you're right. The guy's got 2,800 hits, 1,600 RBI, and people say he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Well, what do you got to do? 2,800 hits and 1,600 RBI? Come on. All right, next question. Oh, you had the microphones? Okay.
Fergie, did you ever have a chance to talk to Ronnie Santo about what happened in the clubhouse between he and Dick Allen?
No. I know that Ronnie, being Italian, he was pretty fiery. He had a bunch of disputes with Leo DeRocher, so I can imagine what him and Dick had to talk about. Maybe it was about playing the game or coming to the ballpark early. Like Dick didn't want to take batting practice. He never wanted to do that when he was in the Phillies when I was there, Clearwater, Florida. He'd take a week of batting practice and say, hey, come on, let's start this season. I'm ready to go. That's all he was. And he smoked in the clubhouse. He smoked on the field. So Ron Santo wasn't a smoker. So there had to be a few things that was a conflict between, because Ronnie was the captain of the Cubs. He wasn't the captain of the White Sox. So maybe there was just a minor dispute.
Well, when you lead the league in home runs, then you should be able to do what you want to do.
Yeah, Ronnie didn't play as well. When he left the Cubs, he wanted to quit. The Cubs wanted to trade him to Seattle. He didn't want to go to Seattle. He wanted to stay in Chicago because that's where his business was. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't play third base because you had Bill Melton there. So he had to, end result, had to go to second. So there was a lot of different things that probably in Ronnie's life that was upside down and changed.
Sure. Yeah, he was the first player that invoked the 5 and 10 clause. Yeah, you stayed with a team
Yeah.
for in the league 10 years and with one team for 5. You had a chance to veto any trade, and he was the first one to do it. Okay, I saw other hands. There's this young man over here. Okay, stand up, stand up. She gonna bring the microphone.
I don't need a mic. 1972, Billy Williams should have won the MVP. Johnny Bench edged him out. Did those two guys get together much?
Did Dick and Billy get together much?
I'm not sure if they did, but, like I said, we followed each other in the press. Billy had a fantastic year.
Yeah.
Sports writers are kind of stupid sometimes. Here? All right.
Hey, Phil, I didn't say that.
They're not real smart.
Yeah.
But when you follow a team and an individual, you know what their capability. That best season I ever seen Billy Williams had. The only reason Johnny Bench, he had home runs, and they won the pennant that year.
Right. Well, I thought Billy could have won it in 1970 as well, MVP. Yeah, he could have.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. Other questions? Okay, stand up, please. You got to stand up.
What other hobbies did he have besides basketball and baseball?
What did he say?
Hobbies, Dick Allen.
Oh.
He loved horses.
Oh, yeah.
When he got traded to the Dodgers, believe me, he was at Hollywood Park all the time. Believe me.
Right. Hey, in the documentary, and I know we still have more to do, Andy, do you talk about his love for horses?
We do. Definitely loved horses. I believe he played pool a lot too. Yeah, he loved to play pool. And I want to actually, so those are his hobbies. I want to get to the gentleman's question in the red hat, because he said something that brought up that we don't see tonight Philadelphia. Sir, I think Philadelphia really hurt Dick Allen a lot in the 60s. That is a powerful sports town with very opinionated writers who wrote very strong opinions about Dick. And honestly, I think that's what set him back a lot. And as someone who wrote for the Tribe and Guards, Dick was far better. It reminds me a lot of Albert Bell for the Indians. And Albert doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, but he's still a really good player. And there's a lot of parallels to those two players.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can we get the mic to this man back here? Hold on, we're going to bring a mic to you. She's going to bring it to you, sir.
Okay, real quick, fantastic work.
Hold it up.
Fergie, first of all, you won 20 games like 8 times, even though I'm a guy. So don't say you won 20 that year. I mean, give me a break. And Fergie, how old are you, man? You're fantastic. You look as great as ever. But you got to be.
I can't play anymore, please. I don't want to play anymore.
I'm a diehard White Sox fan, but the two guys I loved for the Cubs were Fergie and Billy Williams. But anyway, real quick on the film, my one suggestion is I hang on every word your dad said, because he never talked much, but he's so eloquent and so refined and so soft-spoken. And there was some kind of grainy text. If you could put, what do you call those, subtitles, when he's speaking in the beginning, because I was straining to hear every word and I couldn't.
Yep.
So that might help.
Yeah, then one thing that was a challenge in this film, still a challenge, and while I'm watching it tonight, sir, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to make a few more tweaks in the edit room. Dick, unfortunately, and Dr. Fletcher said it well in the film, they weren't really well covered in the 70s, the White Sox. And it has been a strain to find video. And to your point, I think we do need to put captions on there. I think it will help a lot. Thankfully, a station that's no longer around, that's why we're using it, Prism did this interview with Dick, your dad, in 91. It's really a great interview. And he really gives some really thoughtful commentary. But thanks to Dr. Fletcher, actually, and John Owens, they've been helping me find old interviews and stuff to put in there. And it does go a long way. I agree with you. Whenever you can hear the person speak, especially when they're past, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sorry, real quick, can you tell us how we can see this? When is it all available, and how are we going to see it? I haven't heard that. How are we going to?
Well, that's a great question. If anybody works for Netflix, Apple, Amazon, talk to this guy. Talk to us. We're looking for a distributor. We will find a distributor, and it'll be out there probably by the fall.
Okay. Other hands, other questions. Okay. Oh, give it back.
Sir, you're on fire.
Yeah, no, last comment, because growing up a white kid on the north side, diehard White Sox fan, I was fighting Cub fans all my life. But why a white kid? But my heroes, that generation, that late 60s, and maybe for Dick Jr., the late 60s was the heart of the civil rights movement. All the people that influenced me and motivated me were Muhammad Ali, Dick Allen, John Carlos, Tommy Smith. They didn't say much. Well, Muhammad Ali said a lot, but
he said enough for everybody.
but those people were my childhood heroes, and they were just eloquent, silent, except for Ali, but he was part of that generation. So I put him on that pantheon of civil rights people, just because he let his bat do the talking. He didn't have to defend himself, like you say. He never polished his own apple.
Shined his own apple. I thank you for that. That really makes me feel good. And like you said, Kenny, it's situations like that when I hear people say, you know, it just makes me feel so much proud, so proud to be Junior.
Hey, Sharon, can you give the mic to Mrs. Allen? I'd like to ask her a question. Dick Allen's wife.
She's a treasure, by the way.
Mrs. Allen, you've seen the documentary to this point. Are you happy with it? Is it everything you thought it would be, or that you wanted it to be?
It's better than I thought it would be. And believe it or not, it only touches what Dick really did and really meant. Not just to baseball, but to everyone that knew him.
When they came to you with this idea, did you buy into it right away, or did they have to convince you to do this documentary?
No, I was very happy, you know, that someone was interested enough to really put it out there, or try to put it out there.
Beautiful. Give her a hand, Mrs. Allen. Hey, Doobie, was it difficult, Doobie, for you to go back to places like Arkansas that was so difficult and, I'm trying to put it nicely, evil to your dad? I mean, did that affect you at all, knowing how your dad was treated in Arkansas?
First of all, I did. I openly thank Fergie for, you know, going through Little Rock with me. I had asked my father, I don't remember the exact year, but I wanted to record him. I said, Dad, how about you and I take a trip to Little Rock and go, and you can show me where you used to live and point out certain things. And he hung up on me. He said, that's like walking through the graveyard, and he wouldn't do it. So, you know, and Fergie did that for me. So Fergie was a great substitute. Yes, I thank you very much. But growing up, he had me afraid of the South. I mean, for good reason. He really did. But so I always had this taboo with going to the South, and now I live in the South, so.
Yeah. I want to say, too, Little Rock was a big moment in this film, and it's a credit to this guy. Dr. Fletcher's the one who kept telling me, Andy, Little Rock, Andy, Little Rock, Andy, Little Rock. And we went down there, and afterwards, it was a long, hot fucking day in Little Rock. And I remember I was on the field, and I was like, we actually have more than one film. We have 5. And that's where it all came from. So Little Rock was a very special day, and it's a really big credit to him. And it was so, that was where I felt like a director of Fly on the Wall. Listening to Fergie and Richard Allen Jr. talk about Little Rock at Doe's, a famous restaurant in Little Rock. I was just lucky to be there. That was a really, really cool moment. Really, really cool moment.
Can we get the mic to Nancy Faust?
Yeah.
All right. Nancy, you created the walk-up music. Why? why did you decide that this person, Dick Allen, this time was the right time to create his own walk-up song? And for people that may not know what a walk-up is song, when the player comes to bat now, like especially with Anthony Rizzo, they really go crazy. So they have a lot of players request songs when they come to bat from the organist or the sometimes even the DJ. But what was it about this day, this time, that player?
The term walk-up music didn't exist for many years when I was playing. And I used to play things that just reflected what was going on in the ballpark, but not for individual players, other than maybe play a song that reflected his number. If he was number 33, I'd play 3 is Company, or Motel 6 for number 6, things like that. But this guy was just, he commanded such attention, so much that people didn't go to the John when he was coming up to bat,
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of a knee-jerk thing. That song was popular at that time, and I thought, this guy deserves a song like that. And at that time, players didn't select the songs. Well, that song and that player, of course, we received so much attention from Sports Illustrated, and that reinforced what I did, because the Sports Illustrated article said, this player even has his own song. Mm-hmm. So Dick put me on the map. Thank you, Dick. and that encouraged me to think of other songs for other players, which I did. But now, of course, everything I played, I would hope that I was doing it for the entertainment of the fans, not the player necessarily. I didn't know what Dick thought of it, and it wasn't until 2012 when Dr. Fletcher invited me to partake in the celebration that I was able to meet Dick Allen, and like you said, he was just. He was so laid back, gracious, refined, and I had to love that guy. I thought, how could anybody not love this guy?
Mm-hmm. Just the opposite of Don Cornelius when I met him.
That's all.
Hey, I hold a grudge.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, as part of the Chicago chapter in the film and then also in the book, Dick is positioned as the guy who saved the franchise, and it's true, but also it was people, Nancy is as modest as Dick was, but she played a role in the revitalization of the organization. John Allen, who's mentioned in the film, through, buying the team back from his brother. He saved the franchise as well. Harry Carey. So there are a number of heroes in the story, but especially, Nancy.
Nancy helped save the franchise. People come out to hear the great Nancy Faust. All right, we have to be out of here at 8 o'clock, so I have a couple of more minutes. Any other questions? Let's get them in now. Let's get them in. Right here.
First of all, great job, Fletch. Thanks. We talk about Little Rock, but he started off in like low A or whatever in Idaho. Any research or anything on how's this guy from Wampum, Pennsylvania, in the middle of Iowa as 18, 19-year-old kid?
The only thing I can say is he rose like a rocket. I mean, he did not stay in the minors very long. He was, I don't know how else to put it. He was just very good really quickly. I mean, you could just tell from all the clippings, he was just outstanding. And honestly, for everything he had to overcome in Little Rock, as Fergie just well said a few minutes ago, he was outstanding in Little Rock too.
I love the way the Mike Schmidt story against the Cubs. Schmidt was in a slump, and Dick told him to relax. And I think the next game he hit 4 home runs against the Cubs.
Yeah, we talked. We actually.
None of them came off you, did they? No, okay. I just wanted to make sure. None came off.
And if it was, we'll change it in the film.
Okay.
But no, we talk about that in show 5, the Schmidt story. Schmidt actually talks about it.
Okay, right. Oh, did you get Schmidt? You got him? All right, good. Hey, any other questions? Kevin, I know you got something to say, man.
Hi there.
You got one? Okay.
Yeah, I got one for you. It's obvious that this project is a labor of love, so congratulations to everyone involved. It's a wonderful film. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. But my question for the panel is that every generation seems to rediscover Dick Allen in a different way. And how do you think that in 50 years people will admire him? Will it be for his statistics, his courage to challenge the status quo, or something else entirely? What could that look like 50 years from now? Thank you.
Well, you know, everybody that plays sports has a conflict of something. In Dick's case, the segregation was really big in the 60s. And the Philadelphia organization sent players to a certain place because this is where AAA was. AAA used to be in Buffalo, New York, but they lost the franchise, so they was bought by, I can't think of it, Woodmar, the old owner of the organization was in Little Rock, bought it. He wanted the AAA players there, so we had to go. Unfortunately, when I think of that, Marcelino Lopez, being a Cuban, knew nothing about segregation. Richard Quito, a Panamanian, nothing about segregation. Myself being a Canadian, I read about it in the paper, but now we're up front and we're seeing it. Frank Lucchese was the manager. When we got off that plane, there was already banners at the airport. And Frank Lucchese, a smart manager, said, boys, just be quiet. We'll take care of everything. We went from the airport to the hotel, to the ballpark. And not one player said anything. You know who was on that ball club too? Lee Ilya, Dallas Green, Rick Wise. There were so many other smart individuals that didn't say a thing. But Dick was one of the players that was a regular. He played every day. That's the reason why he got the conflict. If he didn't play every day, if he's a pitcher like me, I pitch only once every 4 or 5 days. So Dick had to play. He had to be exposed. And that's the reason why people didn't want to see him on the field.
And I think 50 years from now, true White Sox fans, who will probably be like our great-grandchildren, will remember that if they're in that ballpark, wherever the White Sox will be playing, that Dick Allen's the reason they will be at that new ballpark 50 years from now. Hey, okay, we got to get out of here in a minute, so I got to do one thing before we go. I'm going to ask everybody on the panel, real quickly, what do you think and what do you want fans to know about Dick Allen with this documentary? Fergie, go.
He was a superstar. He was a super ball player, a super individual, an individual that I think he stayed to himself. He talked to the other players, but he wanted to be known for his ability.
Okay. John.
Just that he was a unique talent. There was no one like him. When they made him, they broke the mold, and he was always a Hall of Famer, and thank goodness that he's finally in the Hall of Fame.
Dr. Fletcher.
Civil rights pioneer.
All right. Andy, our director.
A pioneer who's very authentic to who he was and believed in who he was, and at the end of the day would drink a beer and smoke a cigarette with you.
Okay. Final word, Richard Allen Jr.
I would say I'd like for him to be known as just an ordinary guy. You know, just like Andy said. He did what he did and had a beer with you, joked with you. It didn't matter if you were here, or here. He just looked you in the eyes and treated you for who you were.
Ordinary guy that liked chili. You say he loved chili. That's it. So
That's it. Let's give Kenny McReynolds a huge round of applause.
Thank you. And we said we would be done at 8 o'clock, and it is 8 o'clock. And I guess Nancy's out of Oregon, and she's going to take us out. Thank you. Stay tuned for when the documentary will be finished. I'm sure to have everybody's email, so we cannot wait to see the final project. Thank you so much for being with us, and drive safely.